Alright, what is going on, y'all, and welcome back to another video here on the channel. And today we're going to be talking about Nick Adams. So he's a conservative author. He claims to be Donald Trump's favorite author. I'm not too sure where that notion comes from, but we're not even going to be focusing on that aspect of it. We're actually going to be focusing on his social media presence, specifically a couple of tweets that he put out on Twitter. So essentially, he's a big fan of the restaurant chain Hooters, and he was talking about on Twitter that he loves Hooters and he's tired of, feminists and people judging him for eating there. And he went on this crazy nonsensical kind of rant, if you will, and claimed that alpha males like him eat there, and it was this whole thing. But let's just go ahead and, of course, jump into that story. The article says a conservative author was blasted online Monday after he defended the right of alpha males to enjoy wings and brews at Hooters with their buddies and their families. Nick Adams, who claims to be President Trump's favorite author, said he was, quote, sick and tired of being shamed by feminists after he tweeted about his favorite restaurant chain. I'm sick and tired of beta males and feminists trying to guilt alpha males out of eating at Hooters, Adams tweeted. There's absolutely nothing wrong with eating at Hooters on a weekly basis, even with the family and kids. The MAGA writer was responding to a deluge of online attacks that came from an earlier tweet that used some outdated cliches to explain the difference between the alphas and betas. So honestly, I don't even know why this is such a big deal and how this even blew up in the first place. Because honestly, bro could have stated his opinion and then just moved on with his day. I don't understand, who's shaming you for eating at Hooters? I seriously don't understand. Did you see a couple of comments on Twitter and then lose your fucking mind? It's Twitter. You can't take the app too seriously. If people on Twitter are telling you not to eat at Hooters, honestly, you should just do what you want to do, state your opinion and pay no mind to them. But instead, he got super butthurt all about this, which is really kind of funny. Because it's honestly, who the fuck cares what other people think? No one's shaming you for eating at Hooters. I seriously don't know who's out here saying, oh, you shouldn't eat at Hooters. I've never heard that before. Hooters is actually a really big deal. It's a big establishment. A lot of people eat there. It's a lot of it's the atmosphere. It's I mean, if we're keeping it a buck, chicken wings and titties. Not a lot of places really have that sort of deal. And so it's kind of established itself as, one in its own. And I don't really know of anyone that's going around claiming not to eat there. And I don't know why this guy feels so offended by people saying that. Again, it's probably just people on Twitter, and you can't take Twitter too seriously, guys. And he goes on to tweet some funny shit oh, I fucking love Hooters and, I'm not going to apologize for it. And it's bro, again, no one's asking you to apologize. And what the fuck exactly do you expect me to do with that information? There's absolutely no point of you mentioning that. Don't you have a book to write or something? I'm so confused. But suddenly out of nowhere, he starts talking about oh, alpha males eat at Hooters, and, little beta bitches, eat at soy vegan places or something. And it's bro, where the fuck is this anger coming from? I don't understand what provoked you to even start this conversation in the first place. It's just really weird. I keep saying it, but he could have just stated his opinion, but instead he goes on to tweet 20 or so tweets about Hooters and how alpha males eat there and you're a bitch if you don't and blah blah blah. And it almost gets to a point where it's kind of creepy the way he's talking about it and obsessing over it. Dude's clearly a weirdo. I really don't get it. And I want to kind of talk specifically about that whole alpha male versus beta male dynamic that he brings up. I'm just going to come out and say it, man. If you talk like this, talk about peaking in high school, right? I mean, that is some real childish high school type behavior. It's it's so cringy when people say, oh, I'm an alpha male, or, oh, that person's a beta male. It's honestly, if you're calling yourself alpha male, you're probably not an alpha male, to be honest. Clearly, if you're talking like this, you don't get bitches. And I think he needs to, stop pretending like he does. The fact that he is referring to himself as an alpha male really just kind of demonstrates that he's insecure about himself. And he craves validation from other people. And it's just really weird because, you have to understand that, again, we're talking about Hooters. We're talking about chicken wings and titties. It's not some sort of deep philosophical topic we're talking about here. He's literally just stating, something he likes, but he goes completely nuts over it. Like, dude's just really weird for that. Like, honestly, if you're gonna get pressed over something like this, you know, honestly, you just need to stay off the internet, because, you know, you're making yourself look really stupid. And you know this is gonna come back to, like, bite him in the ass when it comes to, like, his career of, like, writing novels and shit. Like, I just think it's so funny. Like, soft people like this that can get offended over something as mundane as this, like, really need to stay off the internet. But something that I found very interesting that he said, and I don't totally agree with, well, actually, I don't really agree with it at all, is that he said, like, oh, yeah, this is the place where I would take my wife and kids. And I'm going to be honest with you, man. Like, we all know why people go to Hooters, right? It's like, honestly, I'd say like 60% titties, you know, 40% food. In other words, you're going there for the atmosphere and the views, so to speak, as opposed to the actual food, because their food isn't really, like, from my experience, it really isn't that great. Like, I'm not gonna, like, go out of my way to go to Hooters. And it's just so funny how, again, this guy's, like, hardcore standing Hooters. He's like, this place is fucking amazing, go here with the boys, real men eat here. And it's like, it's not even like that good food. That's a totally different topic. But I think it's just so interesting how he talks about how he would bring his wife there. Like, there's no fucking chance I would bring my wife to Hooters. I mean, that's just, like, so disrespectful, you know, because obviously you're going there to lust, right? You're lust after other women, you know, again, taking the views, so to speak. And it's like, why do you think it's acceptable to take your wife here? Because obviously most people that are going to Hooters are there to lust over the other women there. And why would you bring your wife there? Like, why aren't you looking at your wife like that? As a matter of fact, you know, for all of you watching this video, you know, find yourself a man or a woman that looks at you the way Nick Adams looks at every other woman at Hooters except for his wife. Like, that's just, like, absolutely disrespectful. You know, obviously you make a commitment to someone when you marry them to love them unconditionally, to love them wholly. And this guy's going looking at other girls at Hooters. Like, that's just so disrespectful. You know, you got to think, like, how would you feel, honestly, like, if your significant other was lusting over other women at Hooters? Like, that's just so disrespectful. It's kind of gross, to be honest. And this guy, you know, he's like the article says, he's a conservative. And, you know, conservatives are always talking about how important family is and stuff like that. And obviously to this guy, you know, his wife clearly doesn't mean shit if he would take his wife there. And just the douchey demeanor of this guy's behavior and, like, his tweets online just really make me think that, like, in real life he's kind of like one of those douchebags that, like, go to Hooters and all the girls are like, oh boy, you know, look who's here, you know. And, like, I feel like this guy makes these women feel very uncomfortable. Like, I wouldn't be surprised, like, to be a fly on the wall and kind of, like, watch his interaction with these women and just imagine how uncomfortable they would feel. I imagine he's that type of a guy that just makes any woman in the room feel uncomfortable by, you know, again, having that alpha male mentality about him. Like, oh, you know, look at me, you know, I'm such a tough guy, I'm an alpha male, you know, come here, baby, you know, like just really stupid shit like that. Like, I'll bet the women there always feel super uncomfortable when this guy walks through the door. But, you know, alpha males, you know, quote unquote alpha males will tell you that they're so good with women, you know, they got this riz, but really they're just fucking weirdos. And I'll bet this guy is no exception. Like, there is absolutely nothing wrong with, you know, admiring a woman's beauty, you know, being respectful about it. But I just feel like this guy doesn't have that, you know, common sense, human decency to respect a woman, you know, appreciate her looks and not go overboard and get creepy with it. And he starts talking about, too, how he would bring his kids there. And a lot of people did not really like that side of it. And, you know, honestly, I don't see a problem with bringing your kids to Hooters as long as, you know, maybe you're not married or, you know, as long as you're just respectful and not weird and creepy. Well, I really don't see a problem with bringing your kids there because, again, you know, it's a restaurant. You know, they're wearing crop tops and, you know, short shorts. You know, it's not like a strip club where you just see titties galore, right? But when it comes to his wife, like, what's wrong with treating her to a normal restaurant? And the answer is that he just goes there to look at the other women because, you know, at the end of the day, he's just an overgrown child. He has no respect for his wife, no respect for the women he's staring at while he eats his, you know, subpar food. But guys, that's basically it for the video. I appreciate y'all watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like, rating, subscribe to the channel for more commentaries just like this. Leave a comment down below and I'll of course reply to those. And until next time, guys, this is Runter and we'll catch you on the next one. Later.